So the SLO calculation is straightforward, comprising the sum of the 7 elements in the ASEC tool. Is very straightforward. So let's put in practice the SLO calculation with this example. Imagine that we have these social conflicts. We have the stakeholder mapping here. We have the company and the government position. We have two stakeholders, but the element is the negative 1.5. On the other hand, we have the community's position, and this element has a value of negative 1. The stakeholder activity has a value of 0.25. The global resource has a value of negative 2. The dialogue mechanism has a value of 0. Community involvement has a value of 0. And finally, the harms element is a value of negative 1. So now let's apply this formula. So the SLO is negative 5.25. Right? But this is a very, very bad scenario. But is this the worst scenario? I don't think so. Why? Because here we don't have the government participation and government position. We don't have more communities against the company. So it means that this value will be worse. So let's see how does it value mean in the next slide. In this case, we have the social license to operate labels. So we have 5 categories. Very low social license to operate from negative 9 to negative 3.5 approximately. Low SLO is from negative 3.6 to approximately 1.8. Moderate SLO is from 1.8 to approximately 7.2. High level is 7.2, approximately 12.6, and a very high social license to operate level from 12.6 to 18. But to have a better understanding, let's go to the next slide. To have a better understanding of these SLO levels, let's see the stage of the social conflict curve. You remember this curve? When the conflict starts, they start with latent conflict, they go to the emergence and escalation, then to the crisis. This is the worst scenario. Here, the SLO is very, very low. But here, they start with low social license to operate and goes to the very low SLO. After that, when they negotiate and reach agreements, we can say that the SLO is moderate, and then if they implement developments, the SLO go to the high level, but when they go to the reconciliation stage, the SLO is very, very high. Let's see here. So the worst scenario happens when the crisis stage is very, very low SLO, right? But they start with low level of SLO during this stage. Then they have a moderate SLO when they negotiate and implement and reach agreements, but they have a better SLO, high SLO when they implement the agreements, and the best scenario happens when they are in the reconciliation stage. This is very high SLO, right? Okay, let's go back to our case study. Remember the company in Australia, they have this analysis in the ASEC tool. Let's calculate the SLO level. In the company and government position, we have the company and the local government. The company is neutral, and then we have only local government that is opposed to the company. So the element value here is just -1. Let's go to the community. In this case, we have only one community that is opposed to the company, and the community is located inside the area of influence. And we have an NGO, but NGO is neutral. So the average for the community element is also -1. Let's go to the stakeholders activity. For each stakeholder, we have the company. The company has performed failed activity, has a value 0. The government, the local government has corrected activity. In this case, we have value 1. The community has performed two type of activities: a corrective and the failed activity, and the neutral, and the NGO has neutral activities. So first of all, we need to calculate the stakeholders or the community element, the community value here, and the average of this, and after that, the element value. So the average of this community element stakeholder is point. The average for the 0 plus 1 is 0.5. Then just calculate 0, 1, 0.5, and this is excluded. And here we have the average: 0, 1 plus 0.5 divided by 3 is 0.5. This is the stakeholders element value. For the global resources, we have just to answer the question. Remember the two questions. And let's see that we have the total element, resources element is -3. For the dialog mechanism, we have 0, 0. For involvement, community involvement, we have 0, 0. The average is also 0. And the benefits and harms, the company is neutral. Local government is -1, and community is -1. So the average between these two values is -1. So now let's go to the sum of elements. So we need to sum these elements, and we have the -5.5. This is very low. According to our table, this is very low level. Let's go to the next, this resolution stage. In the resolution stage, in this stage, we have many positives, many positives across the ASEC tool. Let's start with the government element. We have value of +1. Neutral is excluded. The community NGO is excluded. We have the average is +1 as well. The stakeholders activity, we have the company. The only neutral value is the NGO, so we need to calculate the average for the company. For the company, the average is 1.5. And now with the number, we have number 2 here, and we have number 2 here. Let's calculate the average for the stakeholder activity element is 1.8. Let's go to the global resource element. So we have to answer the two questions. So we had a value of 3. The dialog mechanism, we have 3 here. We have two values here. First of all, we need to calculate the average for the community stakeholder. This is 2.5 with this number, and 3 we calculate the average for the elements is 2.7. And the community involvement, we have 3 and 3. The average is also 3. And for the benefits, the company is always neutral, the NGO is neutral. So we have 1 and 1. The average is 1. So let's sum of the values. We have 13.35. So we have, according to our scale, this is a high social or very high social license to operate, right?